You know what? It's great to be back into some projects. Yeah, I'm not very quick on my feet and I'm not very bendy, but at least I'm getting things done. For those of you who are watching this video expecting a cancer update, right now I'm feeling pretty good. This was 2.5 weeks ago when I was feeling pretty sore and moving around very slowly, but I realised that I had to get this thing finished. So I'm on crutches and I'm hobbling around and I can't stretch and I can't crouch, and going to get things from the shed is really tedious when it's a 20 or 30 pace walk, but I'm managing. I've nearly got this thing finished. There's only the little bit of staining here, the corner boards, and some insulation on the other side. Then I can clad the other side and get the door hung. Then the structure's finished. I could have made it a lot simpler. If I'd made the thing square and plumb and had 90-degree corners, parallel sides, the whole thing would have been a lot simpler to make. By shaping it the way I have, I've made it much more comfortable to sit in and a little bit more pleasant to look at, I hope. But it means that every board I cut is different to the last. Every single board has a different measurement. So it's taken quite a bit of extra time, but I'm ending up with something that I quite like the look of. I'm feeling pretty pleased with myself, honestly. This has cost me under $1,000 and it's going to contribute greatly to my health, I hope. A little bit more insulating and cladding on that side. Hinge the door, job's done. I'm feeling pretty loved. Brent Nickel, good mate for many years, has just brought me some goat curry. He's a bit of a fanatical chef. Whenever he gets some good meat or some really nice veggies, he likes to do something special with it, and he'll make several meals like this, and he's brought this one round for me, which I really appreciate. I've got a whole lot of people doing some really good stuff. I've got quite a team behind me now. Thanks, Brent. It's restaurant quality, mate. Right, on with the mission. Now, where's my crutch? Bugger, I have to stand up without it. One of the symptoms of metastasizing prostate cancer is severe pains in various parts of the body. I've got metastases in 40 odd places around my body. This is the diesel heater. The tank and the battery that runs it live on the outside, along with the air inlet and the exhaust. You can see the exhaust is that corrugated stainless steel piece. That's really hot and has to be put somewhere where it can't cause any damage. You'll also see the 3-inch round inlet where fresh air comes into the sauna itself. The wires, they connect to a 12-volt battery whenever I'm using it. Uses hardly any diesel. This is the parking meter. It's got nothing to do with the build. So I've got the door hung. I can... Once I've got the door hung, I can get inside this thing and fit out the seats. I'm going to put 2 modular seats in that can be rehashed and changed to different shapes. That way it can be a footrest or a backrest or a chair or a bench. Per inch of thickness, corrugated cardboard is actually the best insulation that's out there. Yeah, it does have its own little disadvantages, like you have to keep it perfectly dry, but the great thing is it stays where you've put it. It costs absolutely nothing. It is important to make sure that you keep it level, because every board could be slightly different and you could end up going away from level, so that when you get to the top of the run you end up with an awful triangular piece. So I want to make sure I avoid that, and I'll just make some very slight adjustments over the next 3 boards as I finish off the wall. Brent Nickel, who made me the goat curry, also made me these weatherboards. He's in with a local sawmiller, and this sawmiller has a machine called a 4-sider. With a 4-sider you can machine pretty much anything you like into a piece of timber. It takes a long time to set the machine up, but if you're doing a lot of weatherboards or a lot of interior tongue and groove lining, this machine will machine all 4 sides in one pass. This cedar that Brent has donated to the cause was the early part of the run while they were setting it up. It was the low-grade timber that they thought they'd just practice on before they got to the good stuff. So I've got a few character knots and a little bit of warpage to take care of, but because I'm only using short lengths, I can cut around most of it. None of the materials that you're looking at were actually bought and paid for from a shop. The good quality stain that I'm putting on now, it's an oil-based stain, but it was the remnants of a tin of stain that had been lying around in someone's shed for several years until they decided to have a clean out. They took it to the dump, and it gets left with all of the dumped paints, chemicals and stains, and I just went through it and picked it up and thought, oh, there's 3 or 4 litres still left in this tin. Waved it at the guy, and he says, oh, $5, mate. So $5 for enough stain to do this. The boards, as I say, they were the practice run timber that came from Brent. The insulation, free cardboard boxes. The corrugated iron that's cladding the two sides, the roof and the rear. They're just multicoloured panels that I had accumulated over several trips to the dump. And they just got stacked behind the shed waiting for a project just like this. I knew that I'd be building some kind of small structure that would need corrugated iron. So I've painted it with fence stain. Yeah, now who would have thought that you could paint steel with fence stain? It's a good quality fence stain, and I did give it a damn good stir up with a drill powered paddle before I started applying it. But it still took 3 coats, but it's covered quite nicely, and I do like the absolute flat finish. Once the corner board's on, it should look pretty good. Now that sheet of glass that you can see inside, I didn't pay for that either. That's just an old shower door. I've taken the frame off because the frame didn't quite suit how I wanted to mount it. I'm going to cut a slot with the saw down the middle of a long piece of wood and push that over the glass. And I'm hoping that the friction of a tight fit in the groove will hold the glass where I put it. It's a little bit of an experiment. So one of the things with stain is after applying it, before it soaks in completely, you must give it a good rub, and that takes any excess off because you only want just enough to colour the wood. Soon as it dries, this side will start to match the other side. Finishing touches. I'm putting the corner boards on, and I've got all my saved up cardboard. Yep, these are the parcels that large solar panels come in. Big sheets of cardboard, really good for doing the insulation in the walls and the roof, because this entire thing is made without glue or varnishes or stains. Everything's natural timber. This you can see up here is just timber that's been out in the rain overnight. Because, yeah, it's showery weather. We've got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. The sunshine coming down, but there's still rain dripping off the roof. Underneath the left-hand seat, I've got a multi-plug so that I can plug in various things. Underneath this right-hand seat, you'll see the diesel heater with its diesel pump attached to the wall and its control panel. The control panel is mounted nice and low because it also includes the thermostat. If I mount it high, it ends up giving me a premature reading and it turns off the heater too early, so I've had to mount that low. But mounted up the top here, you can see my 2 thermometers. One is a garden thermometer that goes to 50 degrees Celsius. The other is a meat thermometer from the kitchen. That goes right up to 100 degrees Celsius for making jam and things like that. But it works really well in a sauna. You've just seen my 3 sources of infrared heat up in the top: near infrared, far infrared and the infrared heater. This is how I stop the heat escaping through that large glass window. I'm amazed at the effectiveness of bubble wrap. And with just a spray of water from the bottle, it sticks to the glass quite magically. Also, really good for privacy. Now, if you're keen on building one of these, I highly recommend doing a bit of extra work and building it like I did, with the 2.5 degree angle front to back and the 5 degree angle side to side. It just gives it a feeling of airiness and space around your head, and of course it makes it more ergonomic for the seat back, makes it really comfortable to lean against. The 2 angles, 2.5 degrees and 5 degrees, mean that the difference in measurement from the base to the roof is 2 inches, 50 millimeters, front to back, and 4 inches, 100 millimeters, side to side. So quite honestly, this is a $10,000 hybrid sauna for 2 people. If you like what you see, why not get out there and build something like this yourself?